Gentlemen, what I'm about to say may shock you. Thousands of men over 60 are quietly losing their ability to perform. Not because they're old, not because their testosterone has vanished, but because the blood vessels feeding their heart, brain, and erections are slowly closing every single day. And the most painful part, you feel it happening. You feel the stiffness fading, the confidence slipping, the spark disappearing. You look at your partner and wish your body would respond the way it used to. You wonder, what happened to me? Why can't I control this anymore? Here's the paradox that no one ever told you. The solution is not another pill that lasts only a few hours. The real answer may be sitting in your kitchen right now. Mixing olive oil with vinegar in the right way can dramatically increase blood flow, open your arteries, and in many cases bring back strong natural erections in as little as 24 hours. This is not magic and it's not theory. It's science. And in a moment, I will walk you through exactly how to do it and why it works even at age 70, 80, or beyond. My name is Dr. Mika Hayashi, urologist and men's health specialist with over 30 years of experience. Stay with me. Your story is not over. Before we go any further, if you're committed to taking back your strength and your confidence, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss another message that could change your life. And do me one favor. Type 1 in the comments if you're ready to fight for your health, or 0 if you're still unsure. Now, let's dive into exactly how this simple olive oil and vinegar method works and why it may transform your circulation starting tonight. 1. The real reason erections disappear. With age, most men believe the day their erections begin to weaken is the day their youth officially ends. But here is the truth nobody wants to say out loud. It doesn't happen overnight. It's not a sudden collapse. It's a slow, silent erosion. So gradual you barely notice it until one day you look down and realize something that once responded instantly now struggles to respond at all. And in that moment, a man doesn't just lose physical function. He loses a piece of himself. You start avoiding intimacy, not because the desire is gone, but because the fear of failing is stronger than the need to feel close. You make excuses. You pretend you're tired, stressed, distracted. But inside, you're grieving. You wonder if this is the beginning of the end. You wonder if you are fading. No one prepares you for the emotional weight of losing control over your body. No one tells you how it affects your pride, your identity, your connection to your partner. I've heard men say they would rather lose 10 years of life than lose their ability to perform. Because to a man, erection is not just a physical reaction. It is proof of strength, vitality, masculinity, relevance. But I need you to understand something with absolute clarity. The problem is not you and it is not age. It is blood flow. The very first arteries in the entire human body to show signs of damage are the ones leading to the penis. They are smaller than the arteries in your heart, smaller than the ones in your brain. And when inflammation begins building inside them, when plaque forms, when blood thickens, when pressure rises, they narrow faster than any other vessels. That means erectile dysfunction is not a punishment of aging. It is the earliest warning signal that your circulatory system is struggling. When the blood cannot travel freely, it cannot fill the chambers that create a firm, lasting erection. The body wants to perform. The mind wants to perform. But the blood simply cannot get there. And here's the part that should shake you awake. By the time a man first notices weaker erections, the same process is already happening in the arteries leading to the heart. Erectile dysfunction is often the first sign of developing cardiovascular disease by 3 to 5 years. In other words, your body isn't failing. It's sending a warning flare. Your penis is speaking for your heart before your heart cries out for help. That is why ignoring the problem is dangerous, and why pretending it's just age is one of the greatest mistakes a man can make. But here is the hope, because there must be hope. Blood vessels can heal. They can soften, reopen, strengthen, and rejuvenate. And when blood flows again, everything changes. Energy returns, confidence returns, desire returns, intimacy returns, life returns. So the real question is this. If the root problem is blood flow, then what can you do today, right now, to reverse the damage and restore power to those vessels? The answer may shock you even more because it begins with something sitting in your kitchen at this very moment. A simple method that can dramatically increase circulation starting tonight. Are you ready to see how it works? Let's move to the next part. 2. How olive oil plus vinegar helps restore blood flow. Most men have spent years believing that the only way to restore strong blood flow is through prescriptions, pumps, or procedures. But here is the shocking truth. Long before pharmaceutical companies existed, cultures around the world were using natural methods to keep their arteries open, their circulation strong, and their sexual vitality alive well into old age. And one of the most powerful of those methods is a simple blend of olive oil and vinegar. Not expensive, not complicated, not sold by drug companies, yet capable of something most modern treatments fail to deliver. True restoration, not temporary relief. I want you to imagine for a moment the network of blood vessels inside your body. Billions of microscopic pathways carrying life to every corner of your heart, brain, and muscles. When those vessels are flexible, smooth, and open, blood flows like a rushing river. You feel alive. You feel strong. You feel masculine. But with time, inflammation begins to stiffen those pathways. Layers of plaque begin to form. The once powerful river becomes a narrow stream barely moving forward. You feel colder, weaker, slower. Your heart strains. Your energy collapses. Your erections fade. And you assume there is no way back. But olive oil and vinegar have a natural ability to revive those damaged vessels. Extra virgin olive oil is rich in polyphenols, powerful compounds proven to reduce inflammation, soften the walls of blood vessels, and protect them from breaking down. It helps dissolve hardened buildup and increases the flexibility that blood vessels need to expand. When vessels expand, more blood rushes in. When more blood rushes in, erections return with strength and stability. And vinegar, particularly apple cider or balsamic, contains acetic acid, which improves the body's ability to use insulin, lowers blood sugar, and reduces the thick, sticky environment inside the bloodstream that restricts flow. It also increases nitric oxide production, the very molecule that signals blood vessels to open. Without nitric oxide, erections are impossible. With it, the body performs naturally again without force, without struggle. When these two ingredients are combined, they create a powerful synergy. The olive oil coats and protects the lining of the arteries like a shield. The vinegar breaks apart the buildup and signals the vessels to relax and widen. The result is a rapid improvement in circulation that many men begin to feel in hours, not weeks. Warmer hands and feet, stronger morning erections, clearer focus, a sense of strength returning to the body that many believed was lost forever. This isn't just a recipe, it's hope. Hope that your story is not over. Hope that your body is capable of healing itself when given what it truly needs. And if something this simple can restore blood flow, then the next question becomes even more important. Exactly how should you prepare it? And when should you take it to experience the fastest results? The answer may surprise you because timing is everything. Let's continue. 3. The exact recipe and timing. What if I told you that the difference between a weak, fading circulation system and a powerful surge of blood flow that brings erections roaring back might come down to a single tablespoon taken at the right moment each day? Most men think results come only from drastic interventions, surgery, medications, endless appointments. But the body doesn't always need something extreme. Sometimes it needs something precise. And the shocking part is how many men fail simply because they never learned the correct way to use a natural remedy that could change everything. You see, olive oil and vinegar on their own are powerful, but when blended in the correct ratio, they become something far greater than the sum of their parts. Too much vinegar and the acidity overwhelms the body, creating stress rather than healing. Too much oil and the mixture becomes slow to absorb, offering minimal benefit. But the right balance enters the bloodstream quickly, signals the vessels to relax, and allows blood to move with force and purpose. Again, it is not the ingredients alone that matter. It is the precision. Here is what I want you to understand. On the deepest level, the body heals most effectively at night. While you sleep, your cardiovascular system repairs the inner lining of arteries. Your hormones rebalance, and your nitric oxide levels naturally rise. That is why the timing of this blend is everything. Taken before bed, the body can use every drop to rebuild and restore. Blood vessels soften. Inflammation fades. Circulation strengthens from the inside out. Men often tell me they wake up with warmth in their hands and feet for the first time in years. Others describe the return of spontaneous morning erections they thought were gone forever. For some, it is not immediate, but night by night the results build until they cannot be ignored. So here is the exact method I recommend to patients who want the fastest improvement in blood flow. 1 teaspoon of extra virgin olive oil mixed with 1 teaspoon of apple cider or balsamic vinegar stirred into 2 to 3 oz of warm water taken 30 to 45 minutes before bed. Drink it slowly. Allow the warmth to move through you and feel the shift. Many men tell me they sense a quiet strength spreading through the body as if something dormant is waking up again. It is not dramatic at first. It is subtle, steady, growing. But then one night something happens. The body responds, the blood moves, and everything changes. And if this simple preparation can open blood vessels and restore circulation, imagine what happens when we amplify it even further. When we turn this gentle formula into something far more powerful, something many of my patients call rocket fuel. If you're ready to push beyond ordinary results and discover the version that accelerates the process dramatically, then keep watching. The next step may be the breakthrough you've been waiting for the emotional core. Here is something most men will never admit out loud. The moment you realize your body no longer responds the way it once did can feel like a death. A quiet, private death that no one sees but you carry everywhere. It stays with you in silence. It follows you into the shower, into the bedroom, into the dark hours of the night when you lie awake staring at the ceiling wondering what happened to the man you used to be. And the most shocking part is this. Millions of men are experiencing this same pain right now. But they suffer alone because society has taught them that talking about it is weakness. So instead of seeking help, they bury it. They pretend it doesn't matter. They learn to fake confidence while slowly breaking on the inside. I have seen men who survived war, disease, and heartbreak crumble under the weight of feeling powerless in their own bodies. I have watched men who once stood strong like mountains tremble when they described the moment they felt their strength abandon them. They talk about avoiding eye contact with their wives or partners, about feeling ashamed to touch or be touched, about smiling on the outside while feeling hollow on the inside. And every time they tell me their story, the pain in their voice is the same. It is not about sex. It is not about ego. It is about identity. It is about the fear that time has already won, that once masculinity slips away, it never returns. But here is what they discover, and what I need you to hear with every ounce of honesty in your heart. The body is not giving up. It is asking for help. When erections weaken, your body is not saying you are finished. It is saying you are repairable. The arteries leading to your heart and pelvis are not dead. They are wounded, and wounds can heal at any age. I have treated men in their 70s and 80s who walked into my office defeated, whispering that they had accepted the end. And weeks later, I saw those same men stand taller, shoulders back, eyes bright, speaking with pride as they felt life return to their bodies. Energy, circulation, intimacy, connection. There is nothing more powerful than witnessing a man reclaim the parts of himself he thought were gone forever. It is not just the return of an erection. It is the return of dignity, the return of belief, the return of joy. And when blood flow returns, the world changes. Not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. You begin to feel alive again. You begin to remember who you are. And if something as simple as a natural blend can reopen those pathways and restore that fire, imagine what happens when we take that foundation and intensify it, turning slow progress into rapid transformation. Because the next step is where everything accelerates, and the results can begin in as little as 24 hours. Are you ready to see how far this can really go? Let's continue. 5. The number one habit that destroys circulation. What I'm about to say may be difficult to hear, but it needs to be said because it is silently destroying more men's health than smoking, alcohol, and poor diet combined. The number one reason blood flow collapses in men over 60. The reason erections fade, energy disappears, and the heart begins to fail is not genetics, not bad luck, not aging. It is the simple act of sitting. Just sitting hour after hour, day after day, year after year. We think it's harmless. We think it's normal. But every minute spent sitting without movement compresses the arteries in your hips, slows circulation to your pelvis, and reduces the body's ability to produce nitric oxide, the chemical that allows blood vessels to open and erections to occur. And the most shocking part is that many men spend more time sitting now than at any other point in their lives. And they don't even realize the damage it is causing until the consequences arrive like a thief in the night. I've had men sit across from me with tears in their eyes, describing how they slowly watch their strength fade. They say things like, "I used to feel like a man. I used to feel powerful. I used to feel like..." And then they tell me they retired. They sat more. They moved less. And one day they woke up and something was missing. It's not until much later that they connect the dots. Weeks become months. Months become years, and circulation collapses silently without pain, without warning. First, they notice cold feet. Then they notice fatigue. Then they lose morning erections. Then performance. And by the time they seek help, they whisper the same heartbreaking question. Why didn't anyone tell me? But here is the truth that every man deserves to hear. The body is designed to pump blood against gravity. Movement is life. The moment we stop moving, everything begins to shut down. Muscles weaken, blood stagnates, vessels stiffen, pressure builds, and the very system that keeps a man alive begins to suffocate. The tragedy is not that the problem exists. The tragedy is that it is reversible completely. Even at 60, 70, 80, or beyond, just 5 minutes of intentional movement every hour of the day can reopen those pathways, send oxygen-rich blood back to the heart and pelvis, and reignite the internal engine that powers erections and energy. I've watched men who struggled for decades turn everything around simply by changing how they treat their bodies throughout the day. They stand up. They take deep breaths. They stretch the hips and spine. They let blood move again. And the transformation is breathtaking. Confidence returns. Warmth returns. Strength returns. Because when circulation wakes up, the man wakes up with it. So now that you understand what destroys blood flow, the question becomes, what can you do to amplify the effects of the olive oil and vinegar method and accelerate recovery? Because the next step involves a powerful variation that some men say changed everything for them. What is it and how fast can it work? Let's find out. 6. The rocket fuel variation. There is a moment in every man's journey when he wants more than slow progress. He wants proof. He wants something he can feel. He wants to know without question that his body is capable of responding again. And here is the shocking truth that most men never hear. There is a natural way to intensify the olive oil and vinegar method so powerfully that many men report feeling a surge of warmth and circulation within minutes, not weeks, not months, sometimes the very same night. I have seen men sit in complete disbelief as their body begins to wake up again, like a silent engine roaring back to life after years of being dormant. They describe the sensation as if blood that had been trapped for years suddenly broke free and flowed with force and purpose. The key to this acceleration lies in adding a small but powerful ingredient that acts like a trigger, forcing the blood vessels to expand rapidly and increasing circulation throughout the pelvis. It is not exotic. It is not expensive, and chances are it is already sitting in your kitchen. Cayenne pepper used correctly and in the right amount stimulates the cardiovascular system like almost nothing else in nature. It increases body temperature, widens blood vessels, and enhances the movement of blood from the legs upward toward the heart and pelvis. And when combined with olive oil and vinegar, it creates a cascading effect that supports nitric oxide, the critical signal that tells blood vessels to open fully. When some men first drink this enhanced formula, they feel a gentle heat rising through their chest, shoulders, and down into the lower abdomen. Others describe a sudden sense of clarity like waking up from a long sleep. But the most emotional reactions come from men who feel something they thought they would never feel again. A pulse of strength, a sense of power returning where they feared it was permanently lost. I have sat across from men who quietly wiped tears from their eyes because in that moment they realized they were not broken. They were waking up. Their body was responding. Their hope was real. The variation is simple. To the evening mixture of 1 TBSP of olive oil and 1 teaspoon of vinegar, add just 1/8 of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Stir it gently into warm water and drink slowly. Do not rush. Pay attention to your body. Feel what begins to change. For many men, this becomes a turning point. The moment they stop doubting and start believing again. The moment they realize that their health does not have to decline with age. The moment they understand that strength can return, that intimacy can return, that life can return. And if a small shift like this can create such a powerful response, then imagine the possibilities when the inside of the body begins to fully heal, when circulation truly restores itself from the deepest level, and the results stop being temporary and start becoming permanent. Because what happens in the next phase is not just physical. It transforms everything. Are you ready to see what your body is capable of when healing becomes complete and lasting? Let's continue. 7. Why this works physically. The science behind the results. Most men think erections are about desire, excitement, or mental stimulation. But here is the shocking truth. None of that matters if the blood can't reach the penis. You could have all the desire in the world, but if your arteries are stiff, inflamed, or narrowed, nothing will happen. The body can want it. The mind can crave it, but without blood flow, there is no response. That is the brutal reality millions of men face silently every day. And yet almost no one understands what is really happening inside their own body. They blame age. They blame stress. They blame testosterone when the real cause is hiding in plain sight. The vascular system has lost its ability to open and deliver blood with force. Inside every healthy erection is a miracle of biology. The moment arousal begins, the brain sends a signal to release nitric oxide, the molecule that tells the smooth muscles inside the arteries to relax and widen. When they widen, blood floods into two chambers within the penis called the corpora cavernosa. They expand, they fill, pressure builds, and the veins close to trap the blood inside. That is what creates a strong, lasting erection. But if those arteries are damaged, if they are clogged, if nitric oxide is low, if the walls are stiff and cannot open completely, the blood simply cannot enter with enough power. The chambers remain soft, the erection fails, and men blame themselves. When in truth, the system is starved for oxygen and circulation. That is why olive oil and vinegar, and especially the enhanced variation, are so powerful. Olive oil supplies polyphenols that repair and protect the endothelium, the fragile inner lining of blood vessels responsible for producing nitric oxide. When the endothelium heals, blood vessels regain their flexibility and they can open fully again. Vinegar improves blood viscosity, reducing thickness and resistance so blood flows more freely. It also increases nitric oxide signaling, allowing the arteries to widen rapidly. And the cayenne variation ignites circulation by increasing heat, widening vessels, and pushing blood upward with intensity. This combination attacks every barrier standing between you and a strong erection: stiffness, inflammation, plaque, weak pressure, low nitric oxide. When circulation improves, everything changes. Warmth spreads through the body, energy returns, organs function better, the heart beats stronger, the brain clears, and the penis responds with strength, fullness, and staying power. It is not magic. It is physics. Blood flow equals life. Where blood flows, function returns. And when function returns, confidence returns. You begin to stand taller. You begin to feel possibility again. You begin to remember who you were before fear crept in and stole your power. So if your body can respond like this from a simple change, the next question matters more than anything. What happens when you sustain these improvements long enough for real transformation? The kind that does not disappear, the kind that rebuilds your health from the inside out. Because the next step is where temporary results become lasting victories, and age stops being an enemy and becomes a partner in strength. Are you ready to see what comes next? Let's keep going. 8. A message to your heart, identity and confidence. Here is a truth few men will ever say out loud, but every man over 60 has felt deep in his bones. The most painful part of losing your ability to perform is not the physical failure itself. It is what that failure whispers to you in the quiet moments. It tells you you're fading. It tells you you're no longer the man you once were. It tells you your best years are over. And the shocking reality is that millions of men walk around carrying that heavy silence every single day, pretending everything is fine while a storm rages inside them. They sit at the dinner table smiling, but inside they are terrified. They lie next to the person they love, but they feel miles away. They laugh with friends, but they feel like ghosts of the man they used to be. I have listened to men break down describing the moment they felt the shift. The first time they failed in the bedroom, the first time they hesitated to reach for their partner, the first time they felt fear instead of desire. They talk about how they quietly pulled away, how they built walls to protect themselves from embarrassment, how they convinced themselves that intimacy didn't matter anymore. But it does. More than anything, it does. Because intimacy isn't just a physical act. It's connection. It's love. It's identity. It's the fire that tells a man he is alive and worthy and present. When that fire dims, everything feels colder. The world feels smaller. Life feels heavier.